Hello, guys. Welcome to Rex Arthur TV. This is the Rex Arthur Show where we discuss LGBTQ issues with an LGBTQ approach and an LGBTQ perspective in an LGBTQ plus planet, and where we all have and belong to one or two letters in the 10-letter sexual alphabet LGBTQIAAP. I hope you know which letter you belong to. And we are going on with a very important video that I would encourage you to watch, and it is by Dave Rubin. Great guy, great gay guy. I like stressing that. Contrary to other people don't like identity politics. I like identity politics. It's good to know how many gay people are intellectuals, how many lesbians are intellectuals, how many bisexuals are intellectuals. Yes, it's good. It will tell you a trend. You see, when you know the identity of somebody, it will explain to you the environment such people are in. It even explains to you their psychology. Do you know how many black singers exist in the world? Successful black singers. Yes, successful. You see, it's people will think that that's racism. It's not racism. It's a fact. And it means something. That black people tend to be very artistic. Very good artists. You see? So, that's what you need to understand about sciences. And racial, that's how you positivize racial differences. How many white people are philosophers, writing? Many. So you appreciate them for that. It tells you something about white people. They tend to be very thoughtful. Yeah, it's okay. It's a fact. You're white, so accept the fact. Accept the fact that you're black. Accept it. Relish it. That's what I tell people. In the gay community, there's something you need to understand. Not everybody who is gay loves being gay. Yes. I'm telling you. And there's a pitfall when you have that feeling. The moment you feel like you don't like who you are, please work on that. Because that's what feeds inferiority. That's what makes you feel inferior. Even transgenders, the reason why there's trans suicide is very high. They don't love themselves. And people hate them. Just imagine, you don't love yourself and people hate you. You see why it's very important to give transgenders platform to do stuff. Yes, please allow them to be themselves. They feel good. They feel loved. Yes. That's what you do. So, and not only, even women. Do you know most of the radical feminists really didn't like who they are as women? Yes. That's what Sigmund Freud talked about he said women have penis envy. That they wish they were men. But guess what? Your wishes have come true. Now, if you're a woman who wants a penis, you are actually a trans man. Now you can get it. So there's no more penis envy. It's gone. The women Sigmund Freud was interviewing were masculine women. Yes. And most likely they were trans. Yes. Because naturally, humans do not hate who they are because they don't know to be something else. They don't know it. That's what I'm saying. It's funny that a gay man hates his gayness. Has he ever been straight? You see, if you've been straight before and then you're gay, then we can forgive you because you really don't know. You are able to compare. But if you are straight, how will you know being gay is bad? You will never. You will never. In fact, the only people who have an excuse is bisexuals, because they switch. But even a bisexual does not know what it means to be straight. And a bisexual also does not know what it means to be gay. Yes, they don't know. A bisexual is a gay and straight person. A gay is a gay person. A straight is a straight person. So you see, a bisexual, their mind is so bipolar. Yeah, so so what am I trying to say? Accept yourself for who you are, and then when you find differences, like blacks are very good in arts, sports, yes, be proud of that. Who said music is easy? See, I'm so happy with the movies of the Oscars this year. They were good movies. They really picked the best. And Green Book is lovely. I know people are attacking it, but I love it because this black musician had a white driver. Unbelievable. In the days when racism was high. See the power of Green Book? I don't know. I'm even going to do a video about it. But I want to watch the movie first. Very interesting. That a black man, and you see blacks, even contrary to what you understand, you have to understand history. Blacks were good in music, whether they were slaves or free. It was a fact. You see, even though there were Jim Crow laws, the temptation of listening to a black man playing music was too much. They gave up. They said, no, he's good. Just bring him. And when you watch Green Book, the beginning, especially the trailer, the white driver thought he was going to pick a doctor. And then only to find, oops, he's a black man and he's a musician. And he was like, really? I'm coming to take care of this guy? And yes, that's what happened. And so that's what you need to understand. The arts were appreciative. However, there's a section of the blacks that rose up. People like Martin Luther King, they were philosophers. He's a philosopher. And he rose up and said, okay, yes, we know we are entertaining you, but don't think that when you're entertaining us, we don't know the law. We can read. So Martin Luther King could read very well. He was an intellectual. And he challenged the laws of America. The musicians did not challenge. They were wondering. They just went on with life because they were making money. Ella Fitzgerald, all of these great black guys, Louis Armstrong. And of course some of the artists supported Martin Luther King because he was an intellectual. He could think and he could challenge the system intellectually, which was never seen. Because they liked the system whereby you subjugate the blacks, and you don't need an intellectual. But Martin Luther King changed the narrative. He was an intellectual who rose up. He can read, and he can explain. And that's what he did. Beautiful. When you watch the videos of Martin Luther King Jr. and other intellectuals, even Malcolm X was an intellectual. Anybody who was speaking and saying something, that's an intellectual. He's a philosopher. So Malcolm X, the philosopher, same to Martin Luther King Jr., same to our gay leader and friend, James Baldwin. Alright, so let's finish up this video. It was very long, so that's why but it's a good video to go through. Okay, let's continue.
It's kind of a changer.
Sorry about
Disgust.
Gender or skin color? What kind of bigot are you?
Now,
Feels good to admit it, doesn't it? You know?
no, it disgusts me, frankly. There's now this whole meme about manels. Thou shalt not put together a scientific panel of the top cancer researchers if it happens to be all males. You must put females on that panel. This is crazy.
Yeah.
Who cares? I really do not care who solves Alzheimer's. If it's all females because they're the best, so be it. But if it's all males, I don't give a damn.
Are you telling me that if you had heart surgery, you would want the
I
best?
gotta check out.
You would want the best
gonads.
surgeon regardless of their sexuality or gender or skin color? What kind of bigot are you?
I don't know. I guess I'm just blind to the travails of females, you know? And
So anyway, that's one point I can agree with Heather. She's saying that she's not really bothered about the identity of the scientists doing their stuff. Of course, she's I may sound contradictory, but what I'm trying to say of agreement is when it comes to merit, put meritorious people. Now, maybe how to help Heather. Okay, let's first finish Heather's point. Heather is saying that you don't have to put a woman in an all-male panel so that you can show that there's gender diversity in the name of gender diversity. Neither do you have to put a man in an all-women panel of experts to show that there's gender diversity. Now, I agree partly on the part of don't be so legalistic about it. Be a bit liberal. However, I disagree with her on the basis of, remember what I said in part 2 of these videos? I said that people need to understand something, that society is naturally diverse, but the diversity is disorganized. Like the animal kingdom, it is naturally diverse, but it is naturally disorganized. Now, it's disorganized and also organized. Now, what do you mean by organized? Do you see animals going on strike for the life they are living? They don't go on strike. They are living life. So it's organized chaos. You know, why else is the animal kingdom is organized chaos? Why should lions eat other animals? I mean, don't you think that's an anomaly? Yeah, animals are eating other animals to survive. Yes, lizards eat mosquitoes, they eat insects. Why are we not arresting them for murder? You see? So that's disorganized chaos in nature. And we are also humans, we are animals. So we are diverse, and we also have organized and disorganized chaos. Humans can kill just like animals. Animals kill, humans kill. So you can have a society where if someone has angered me, I can kill them. Because that's how it is in the animal kingdom. You know, a snake only bites someone that disturbs it. You can be in a place where there are snakes, it will never disturb you. But the moment you go looking for a snake, it comes and bites you. In fact, that's the animal instinct. Animals attack those that attack them. Porcupines, they release the quills the moment you try and touch them. But if you don't touch it, it will not come and disturb you. That's an animal. And sometimes maybe that's how we should live life. You know, let me live my life, I will let you live your life. That's the animal kingdom. That's the philosophy there. Let me live my life, I let you live my life. I let you live your life. But that's the conservative thinking, which very many people like Heather, that's what Heather is saying. She doesn't give a damn who is in the panel. What she gives a damn to is, will the person do what I want them to do for me? Like if you go for surgery and it's heart surgery, and then you hear the person who is the surgeon is a black man, are you going to accept? You see, according to Heather, she doesn't give a damn. Is he the best surgeon? Then he's going to do the surgery. That's what she's saying. But now, the opposite of Heather's view, is
different. I think it's
the opposite of Heather's view is that if just because there is natural organized diversity, it doesn't mean there is natural disorganized diversity. So there's disorganized diversity whereby the you can have very many males in an industry where women can actually even play a part in. So what do? You artificially balance that industry to include women so that women can also have a job. Do you know who are the richest people in the world? Men. Sorry about that. When you go to the Forbes list, men are rich. There are more men than women in Forbes list. Reason? The industries that are represented by those men have men. Most of the players are men. Very few women play there. So what does this mean? Majority of the poor people in the world are women. You see, that's an issue. So, and people who are artificial constructors of society look at such imbalances and say, what do we want as a society? You see, a leader is a visionary. Let me tell you, all leaders are artificials. An artificial is an artist. He's a creator of an artificial system. All leaders are artificials. Now, at the same time, just because you're an artificial doesn't mean you're not natural. Like you see, men are naturally inclined to be leaders because of the testosterone. Yes. And there are women who are also leaders because they have that high level of testosterone. Testosterone, it is a competitor hormone. Very strong, very aggressive dominance. And some women are like that. I remember a friend of mine who wrote when he met women CEOs, and he was impressed, and he noticed something. Majority of these female CEOs have a very high level of testosterone. They are go-getters. They are fighters. Yes, any woman politician you see today in the political field, that woman is manly. Yes, because the political field is very highly charged. It needs a fighter. And not a physical fighter fighting people. And a psychological fighter. Someone who is very tough. That is testosterone. Because women don't have testosterone, very many women, they don't have high levels of testosterone. Sorry, that's a mistake. I have to clean my mind again. Women have testosterone. It's just that most of them have low levels of testosterone. So because of that low level of testosterone in women and some men, yes, some men have low testosterone. Because of that, they are not necessarily leaders. Yes, because a leader has to be a go-getter, has to be visionary, has to be someone who tells you this is where we are going. As I told you, all leaders are artificers. They are they are artisans. They create systems. You see, Moses, he created a system called Yahwehism. Adam did not create a system. That's what you need to know. Adam, he was not an artificial. He wasn't a leader. Moses was a leader. Sorry, Ellen is here with sexy LeBron. Jesus was a leader because he created a system. Paul was a leader. He created a system. Mohammed was a leader. He created a system. He was an artificer. So, what conservatives need to understand about liberals, especially secular liberalists, even Heather, she's an artificer because she's a secular conservative. It's very important to hear secular conservative for one reason. They are artificers. They are not using a religious system to build the world. You know, a religious conservative or a religious liberal does not need to create a system. They just modify the religious system they are in. It is a secular person that creates a system because he has seen a problem. So what am I trying to say in all of this? The problem we have, when you see that there are more men in an area than women, you have the right to create a system to heal or cure that imbalance. You also have a right to do nothing. Yes, that is the natural way of doing things. Animals do not even have meetings. That the wildebeests are too few. They have no meeting. Lions, do you see lions congregating to discuss that the wildebeest population is reducing? So what are we going to do? We will now have to start eating mosquitoes to survive. Nothing. It's because they are naturalists. They don't look at fixing the system. They just live. They just live. The system is spoiled. Let's go on. Let's just go and look for wildebeest somewhere else. That's what you need to know. That's how the animal kingdom is. They don't sit down and have meetings. But humans, we sit down and have meetings because we are artificers. We are able to create systems to solve problems. So when you have a problem whereby it is all men in the panel, you can make a law to include women. That's why in California, they banned all male corporate boards so that they can integrate the principle of inclusion. And of course, some people may say, like, I found it a bit wrong to do that, in the sense that, no, if you want especially a private company should be allowed to have any sex, even if they want it to be all male. They know why they're doing it that way. Even if you want to make it all female, it's okay. You see, that's where I am. I believe in liberalism, and especially in the private companies, corporate entities, they are free to have whomever they want. Even if they want it all white, that's what they want. But a public entity, it should have inclusion. So that one, you must make sure there's balance. Why are you doing balance in a public entity? Because that is what the government is proposing. The government is showing the country that we believe in diversity. because we are a diverse nation, and so our offices must show that diversity. So when it comes to public offices, they have to show the diversity principle and inclusion. But private companies, it's not a must, because, like, for example, you are a rapper, hip hop in America, and you have a producer, and the best producer happens to be black, and you, the performer, you're black, and your manager is black. Are you going to demand inclusion in that mix? No, it's because a private entity has a goal. It just wants to make money. And if they think the way to make money is to be monocultural, it's okay. But a public entity, its goal is not to make money. Its goal is to take care of the nation. So one of the ways to encourage national unity is to encourage diversity. So in a public entity, they will really have to include all races, all sexualities in every office in the government structure. Because that way you're now telling people that inclusion is the culture of the government. Once you've done that, you've solved, let me tell you, there'll be very few wars in the country, very few protests in the country, because you have given everybody a chance in the government, not in the private company. Private is nothing. It's just your private entity. Because you have a reason why you have an all-female panel. Maybe it has to do with fashion. Yeah. And then another thing you need to know, in private settings, the men are not women. Yes. And women tend to be more heterogeneous than men. Yes, it's very true. It's also a biological issue. Men tend to be scared of the opposite sex. Yes. Yes, I'm telling you. And so when they are socializing, they don't want to be with the opposite sex. Or when they are planning things. So that's what you need to understand about psychology. Male psychology is not female psychology. Testosterone psychology is not estrogen psychology. Because there are men who have a lot of estrogen. And that's why they don't mind being in an estrogenated environment. And then there are women who are so testosteronic, they don't want to stay in an estrogenated environment. Yes. So that's what you need to understand. Okay, let's go on. We need to finish this very long video. Okay.
So different. I think it's premature to say the only possible explanation is structural racism.
Do you think this is also that we just have the...
Oh, it disgusts me, frankly.
Okay.
It's like 0.1%. If that were the case, we would have seen a mass exodus of immigration we had, saying it's affecting America's working classes the hardest. And I think that we're bringing in a culture that is not in our current environment with its monolithic flows from the Central America and Mexico. It's not assimilating, and what I've been reporting on for a decade now is the downward assimilation of the second and third generation of Hispanics into an underclass culture. You know, the conservative happy-face narrative is Hispanic family values. Well, Hispanics have the second highest out-of-wedlock child-rearing rate after blacks. Blacks, it's about 71% of all black children are born to single parents. With Hispanics, it's 53%. That's really high. When Daniel Patrick Moynihan wrote his extraordinarily prescient alarum about black family breakdown in 1965, and he said, as long as so many black boys are being raised without fathers, we are not going to close the economic gap. We are not going to make further progress on civil rights because these boys are not being socialized. At that point, the black out of wedlock birth rate was 23%. Moynihan thought that was a crisis. Right now, it's 71% for blacks, and for Hispanics, it's twice that.
I'll never take an opportunity not to discuss Daniel Patrick Moynihan for a second, but so where are the good liberals on this? Are they just gone, or is it what you just referred to before, which is they know what happens when they've called everyone else racist for so long, so then they just tower away and disappear? I mean, I suspect it's some version of that, because I've kind of lived through it myself.
Where are they on this being immigration or on out of wedlock, the family breakdown?
Well, on almost everything we've discussed here so far, where are the good liberals of today?
Well, again, they will not talk about behavior. That is the dividing line. Moynihan he could say, look, there are behavioral, at this point, from here on out, we're going to see predominantly behavioral. Not that obviously in the 60s there was still just egregious racism, but it was possible to say, although, even back then, he was immediately turned into a pariah. So things weren't so great back then. It was just mobbed, and that report, which could have, if it had been embraced and...
Wow. So she is saying, Heather Macdonald, that at this point we were seeing her understanding, and together with another black author, that the economic gap in the black community is being blamed on the fact that most black men don't have fathers. And because of that, they feel that's the reason why the economic gap is big. I was talking to somebody about that recently, and I said that when you have a single parent, especially a single mother, and she has 3 children, and she has no job, so she's on social welfare, the lives of those children will not be that nice, because they are not able to she's not able to take care of those children very well, because even the social welfare check is very small compared to a family that has 2 working parents. So because of that, according to this black author and Heather, the economic gap is not able to be filled up. And my answer to that, and even when I told another friend of mine, is, first of all, why is the black woman, the black mother, on a social welfare check? It's because of something. The mother has no job. That's what you need to understand. You see, the question and the issue is not even who is your parent. It is what your parent is earning. Do you know you can have a rich single parent? Yes. And you can also have 2 parents who are working poor parents, and you still live in a miserable life, have a miserable life, and you're still not able to close the economic gap. So in short, parenting is not the issue that secures economic success to anybody. You can be in a single parent home and you end up being successful. I mean, look at Ben Carson. Ben Carson was with his mother, and look at who he is right now. He's very successful. Even without a job in government, Ben Carson was a success. Same to very many black celebrities who are rich. They came from single parent homes. So what does that tell you? It's not necessarily being born in a single parent home that ensures economic success to you. Rather, it is back to structure. That's where, Heather is like any academic, takes you back to her argument. And her argument is the problems affecting people is a structural. Okay, her argument is the problems affecting the non-white populations, especially blacks, because this was basically, even though it was about diversity, it was just about black and a little bit about women. And so for her, the problem is behavioral. Even now, what we want to discuss, she goes back to behavior, which I also disagree with. Reason being, and I'll give my views, but let me first deal with this other part. For her, the problem is behavioral. For me, my problem is structural. Because what is the problem in economics? Is it the family life? No. It's the economic, is how much money you're earning. Yes, is how much money you're earning. And how are many people solving? For Heather, to solve the economic problem, solve it behaviorally. See, she's a bit moralist. She's almost like a Christian or a Muslim. All religious people are behavioral psychologists, especially those religions that believe in the concept of sin. Because sin means bad behavior. Yes, sin means bad behavior. And righteousness means good behavior in that thinking. Now, I don't belong to, even though I'm in a church right now, an LGBTQ affirming church, therefore I'm a Christian, I don't hold the concept of sin. I don't believe in the issue of behavior as being the main issue, because it is not. Even in Christianity, behavior is not. That's why Jesus died. Jesus died because nobody can be good. Yes, because if the problem was behavior, Jesus should change everybody. And nobody should be making mistakes. But we are still making mistakes till today. So the issue is not behavior. Because Christianity, the most powerful religion in the world, has never changed the behavior of human beings till today. Even after Jesus' death. So the issue is not behavior. So what's the issue? The issue is structural. Even Jesus said the issue is structural because he came to bring the kingdom of God, not the kingdom of Caesar. The kingdom of God is a kingdom where everybody is happy. Yes. Everybody has a mansion. That's the kingdom of God. Everybody has a Ferrari. Everybody has an iPhone. Everybody has, that is the kingdom of God. So he was saying, and he was preaching the kingdom of God to set the poor free, to set the captives free. He didn't come to say to stop you from doing your other behaviors. No, he was talking about a structure. There were kingdoms. The kingdom ruling Jesus was Rome, the Roman kingdom. It was not good. It had its problems. Even it collapsed. So what am I trying to say? For me to solve economic problems, I use an economic structure. I don't look at the person. I look at the structure. That's what I've told you Scandinavia has done very well. They noticed economic problems and they solved it economically. Now, there's a guy running for America, for the presidency in America, Andrew Yang, and I love him. I even have a playlist now in the channel for him. Whether he wins or not, I'm not bothered. I'm bothered about his economic answer. Universal basic income. I support it 100%. Everybody getting $1,000 per month. Everybody, whether you have a job or not. Let me tell you, the country will change. Do you know how many entrepreneurs you'll create? The more entrepreneurs you create, the more workers you have created. That's the capitalist model. Andrew Yang is capitalist. He's a brilliant capitalist. He's not a stingy one. This is now compassionate capitalism at its best. Give people capital. Every month, give them capital. Wait and see what they'll do. You see, money, it fuels ideas. Many people have ideas, they just don't have money. So how do you solve the problem? Give them money. Now imagine you have a job and you are also on UBI. Do you know what that means? You can save the $1,000 for 5 months, and then you get $5,000 at the end of 5 months and start the business you want to start, and your life will change. See, that's what I'm supporting. I like Andrew Yang for his economics. Even if Trump was a serious guy, he should listen to Andrew Yang. Yes, because they are seeing an economic problem. That the problem we're having in the economic is people don't have money. And life is becoming expensive. Even when you have a job. Imagine Bill Gates' wife was complaining, Americans work too hard. Why? If you don't work hard, she was becoming a Marie Antoinette. Yes. If you don't work hard, you can't pay the bills. So now, Andrew Yang has come to save America with UBI, telling people that the government can give everybody over 18 years of age, everybody $1,000. Now, when you do that, will you have this problem Heather is talking about? That a single mother is with a child, children, and they are poor? You won't. Because the mother, not only will she get a social welfare check, she'll be getting the $1,000. And her children, if they're above 18, all of them will get $1,000. Now tell me where that child will even think of stealing. He will sit down, plan, want to be a businessman. Basically, UBI makes everybody entrepreneur. Yes, you wait and see. I wish it happens. And it's already happening in Europe. UBI is rising. And I have always told Africa, if you never implement the UBI system, forget it. You will go nowhere. Because the purchasing power in Africa is so low. You cannot bring Kentucky in Africa and expect people to buy. They don't even want to think about chicken. They just want to think about paying rent. Life is so hard. They're just thinking about survival. But when you give a UBI system, my friend, they will run to Kentucky. The black Africans you're seeing here in Africa, they will run. Kentucky will even close some branches because they have run out of chicken. Yes. It's as simple as that. Mathematics. So, what I just wanted to say in a mouthful I've spoken. I still stand by structural adjustments. And that's what to be should happen. And it's not necessarily behavioral. Behavior is very diverse. And now let me discuss behavior in a very short time. The mistake she's making is made by very many religious people. And as I've told you, behavior is psychology. But psychology is physiological. That is what psychologists really don't tell people. It is physiological. Do you know animals are psychological beings? Yes. They are psychological beings. They cry. Some even laugh. Have you seen monkeys laughing? Have you seen chicken complaining when they're being mated by the cock? Why do they make that noise? We should do the research. It could be hens don't like being mounted on. Yes. It could even be a case of marital rape by the cock, insisting to enter. And it's so easy. It enters and it releases the seed in a very short time. So, and the hen has made noise. So they are psychological. Even though they have a brain that's as a small, your thumb is even bigger than a chicken brain. But despite having a brain like that, they are still psychological beings. So what does this mean? Your human physiology affects your psychology. That's what you need to understand. So, black people have black psychology. White people have white psychology. Yes, it's a fact. Reason being, if we were humans, another thing about humanist ideology, it should understand something. That even though we are humans, we are diverse. You see, the fact that you're a different color, it really matters. Yes, because it means you come from a genetic stock that is different from somebody who is white. Yes, even though we are all from one ancestor, it's because the more we are far away from the common ancestor, the more diverse we are becoming. And the more different we are becoming from each other. That's what you need to understand. So because of that, our psychologies are becoming more and more different. And because the psychologies are becoming different, the behaviors are different. That's why those boys who are truants, those black boys, you need to understand their psychological infrastructure. Yes. And then, if you find their psychological infrastructure is affected by the economic infrastructure, then fix the economy. Don't fix the behavior. Because the behavior is not the issue. Yes, because the problem of Heather's thinking is like, cane these boys, put them in class, tell them you must read. This boy whom you're saying you must read is going back to a house that has no food. Tell me what is going through his mind. His classmate is going to a house, food is there, everything is there. But the boy is going back home, single mom, drugs, all around, shootings. Now you tell me, what's going to happen? Will he even think about class? He's thinking about the guy who came home. Moonlight, beautiful movie. Beautiful. And I liked it when the son, the gay boy, his mother, look at her life. It was the reality. See? It was reality. That reality affects you whether you like it or not. They were not living in a mansion in Beverly Hills. They were ghetto people. Beautiful movie. Can be watched forever. So, basically, to solve behavior, you solve the structure. That's my answer to all the behavioral scientists. Solve the structure. Give people money. Do you know, if you want to know someone's behavior, give him money. Yes, that's what you need to know. Because don't blame a criminal for being one when he's poor. He has a justification. His poverty made him bad. You see? So what do? Make the person rich and see if he's going to steal. If he steals, then that person is really a thief. Because even when he has money, he's stealing. But a poor person, he can hide. Even before God, he'll tell God, I was so poor. I have 5 children. They can't eat. What could I do? The judge will forgive him. But imagine you're rich. You have 10 houses. You have 50 cars. And then you've stolen. People will wonder what's wrong with you. So anyway, let's finish this video. And
Lacan and Paul Deman, there again, we need to be able to talk about what low-skilled, the fiscal costs that this mass low-skilled poverty culture that we are importing is imposing on the American taxpayer, whether it's through schools, again, I see this at the Berendo Middle School in Pico Rivera, all of the counselors trying to get these kids that are getting sucked into gang culture to try and keep them on their feet. The healthcare costs. Now you have demographic change so much in California. You have California saying we're going to have full health care for illegal immigrants. Mayor de Blasio in New York, full taxpayer subsidied health care for illegal immigrants. If the politics keeps changing this way, that's going to be more and more. And I don't know. A lot of Americans, some Americans understand that this is just extraordinarily burdensome on our society.
Yeah. All right, we only have about 10 minutes left.
Okay.
Now, everything we've been talking about is sort of exactly what the diversity delusion is all about.
Yeah.
But if I had to pick one thing to end on here out of the book, what should we go with here? Because I could do 20 more topics with you about all of this. But these things are all so interestingly linked together, obviously.
Well, I would say the diversity mania, the sort of equation of the diversity mania, which is present now both in universities and abroad, outside of universities, is a race and gender, the most important things about the self. I completely disagree with. I can tell you, being female is not an accomplishment. It is not a particularly interesting status as far as I'm concerned. Most important thing about the self, discrimination based on those characteristics is the defining feature of American society. See Ta-Nehisi Coates, the American academic idol and the idol of the establishment, who says that destroying the black body is the very essence of America. And third, that any lack of proportionality of race and gender in any institution is by definition the result of sexism and racism. That idea now, it defines university culture, but it is now spreading into the sciences. That's what I think is the most concerning and the most amazing, because a lot of optimists, the people
Yes.
who want to see, oh, this is fine. There's all these firewalls. The firewall, whether it's the free market, if corporations, they'll never do this, or it's science. The sciences are never going to be taken care, they'll never be taken over by identity politics. Wrong. The National Science Foundation is spending billions of taxpayer dollars funding gender studies professors to study intersectionality and microaggressions in engineering and math. This is insane.
That makes me laugh. One part she made me laugh is when she mentioned her quotes, and she said "see quotes," and I was like, I'm listening to an audiobook. Audiobooks, they read everything. She's like a walking book, so she has all the quotes and see quotes. See Leonardo da Vinci, page 24. And she has no notes there. She has kept her knowledge in the head. It's very funny. But basically what she's trying to say is that there is according to her, the identity politics is spreading everywhere. And she doesn't support it. Because you've already even heard, she doesn't feel special that she's a woman. And neither does she feel special that she's white, hopefully. So for her, she's not into the identity politics issue. And before we even end this video, we're going to show you another video of 3 professors who are fighting so-called... they were trying to fight these sexual gender studies institutions. So basically what we are seeing in YouTube in the year 2019, there is a war within academia. And the war in academia is the the majority academics who are protected by the majority system, are fighting those who are in the minority system. That is the women, the blacks, and the gays, the LGBT community. So, because of the what you call, they are calling there's another term this other professor uses. I forget the term. The professor of math. Let me see if I can get the term into my, yes, I've got it. The grievance studies. Because the grievance studies are studies about minority lives and the oppression they go through. And so because of that, these academics who are not necessarily grievances scientists, they are questioning those studies. Why are we doing them? And I think it's just they are feeling threatened that the diversity group is gaining traction. Of course, it has lost traction because the president of America, as I told you in part 3, very important point, the president of America affects the philosophical air. And because Trump is a white man and rich white man, not a poor white man. Do you know a poor white man could have been president? Yes. So these are rich white man, very important. All those identities are very important. And because of that, he belongs to the majority, because the majority scheme of things is that when you are rich and white and a man, you may not really be attacked. Yes, you go through less attacks. Of course, it's not that they're not being attacked. I mean, Trump is attacked daily on Twitter. Go and watch. So it's not that he's not being attacked. It's just that he belongs to a section of society that hasn't gone through a lot of oppression, like the black people. Black people have gone through economic oppression, political oppression. Same to gay people. Gay people have gone through economic oppression and political oppression, and even social oppression. And women have also gone through economic oppression, political oppression, and social oppression. But in America, the white man, especially the rich white man, has not gone through social oppression. Okay, he may have gone through social oppression. What I mean by social oppression, people may not understand rich white men. They wonder, why do they get rich? Why are they so rich? And it's because he could be entrepreneurial. You see, like Bill Gates, you really can't blame him for his wealth. Yes, he's a brilliant man who has managed to get all that money because of his entrepreneurial ability and to produce goods that matter to the world. So you can't blame him. So that's what I'm trying to tell you. Oppression or grievances sciences need to understand that even rich people, though they are ahead of the system, they also have problems, but they are not as similar and not as heavy as the ones of the grievances groups. That's what you need to understand. Like rich people, they even commit suicide. How many rich men have committed suicide? Why don't people discuss that? And so what am I trying to say? They go through psychological trauma, but economically, they are okay. And the most important status is economic status. The reason why we have women rights movements and Black Lives Matters movement and Black Rights movement is because, and the LGBTQ movement, these people, do you know what is the common bond? They are poor. Yes, they are suffering economically. That's what I want Heather and Rubin to know. It is an economic problem. Bill Clinton again, it's the economy. Stupid. Yes, it is the economy. It is nothing to give people economic power. There will be no more grievance studies. Yes, because these guys are complaining there are too many grievance studies. Well, empower your people economically and see, they will disappear. When you give women economic empowerment, proper economic empowerment, like UBI, how many women will stand up and run? Very many. When you give black men and women economic empowerment, how many of them will want to be leaders? How many of them will be entrepreneurs? Very many. When you give gay people, bisexuals, transgender, lesbians power, economic power, how many of them will be complaining? Very few. Because their life, their economical life is set. So, what am I trying to say? For those who are in the majority power structure, listen to the minorities. They are telling you something. There is an economic problem. That's all they are saying. In all the noise, in the diversity of the noise, it is just economic issue. Solve it. Oxfam does it very well. They always give us, Oxfam gives you the problem. It's economic. That's all. All right. Let's finish this video.
Have Google. Actually, it is unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's like Stasi. It's like East Germany or Russia. People are afraid to speak in a university which purports to be not as smart.
Right.
Explanations that they will not accept
Right.
for why females gravitate towards more hands-on, relational, human-centered work, and they're just not as interested in perhaps being coders at 2 a.m. with cold pizza in some ugly computer science lab. That the geeks, the science geeks, are predominantly males, and they're probably on the spectrum. So what? Get over it. Who cares?
Big damn whoop. All right, you're super busy, so all right, we're going to do this again for sure, because I feel like we just got warmed up here.
Great.
But let's end on, give me something positive out of this. For the people that see all this, that are truly worried about it, that are emailing me every day, that care about these conversations, what are the signs that we might be getting some wins here, or that enough people are starting to wake up to this craziness?
Well, your audience, I think. I mean, there really are people out there. The universities, people are operating under terrified silence. I hear from professors, I hear from faculty. It is unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's like Stasi. It's like East Germany or Russia. People are afraid to speak in a university which purports to be the model of human discourse. But there are people that are pushing back against it. And all I can say is we are not going to beat this thing unless we push back against the narrative that any disparities in representation are due to racism and sexism. As long as that narrative wins, the push for quotas, the destruction of scientific meritocracy is going to continue. And China is going to end up whooping our ass when it comes to technological innovation, because when it comes to science, they care about only one thing. Can you do the engineering?
Very strange. The people who are obsessed with our differences seem to want us to be the same more than anybody else.
Right.
Very
Respect
bizarre.
individuality.
It's been a pleasure, Heather. I'm sorry this was so
Rubin, very funny. Yeah, so that's the conclusion of the video. And Heather is saying that in China, they don't care who you are. They want you to do the job. Even if they 100% men, they want you to do the job. So, what is the question, or what's the answer? The point is, the Chinese model is apolitical. It has nothing to do with society, societal infrastructure. It has everything to do with economic infrastructure, making money. What Heather is saying, in China, they don't care even if all the engineers are men. They want the job done. But in the Western society, the reason why they are concerned about the identity of their engineers is because they have a vision that society is supposed to be a balanced society where everybody is free to be whom they want to be. So this means if you're a woman engineer and you really want to be a part of engineering, in making the best phone in the country, they should allow you to be there, not because you're a woman, but because you have an engineering degree. So the Western response to the Chinese model is that you are looking just for the best engineer, irrespective of whatever the identity they are. But we are looking for an engineer, also irrespective of sexual identity, but because of identity. So that's what the Heather has noticed, and she doesn't like the Western system for that, because when you focus on identity, according to her, you will not get the best. But I am different. I believe the importance of identity is that you get diversity. Yes, you get diversity. And how black, when you have a black engineer, a Chinese engineer, and this other engineer, those people, put them in a creative department. In fact, every creative department in a company should be diverse. Every creative unit in any company should be diverse. And of course, engineering doesn't need a lot of diversity. It's because it is science. You know, science is universal. Science has no color. Anybody can do the science as long as they have the same knowledge. So science is really not about diversity. It is arts. And the problem, and the other, not a problem, I really want to do away with some words. One of them is the word problem. The issue is sciences are connected to arts. You know, this Samsung phone, iPhone, every phone we use is a combination of science and arts, even design. So what does this mean? Just hire people, irrespective of their identity, but value their identity. Women need to be told they are valuable. Men need to be told they are valuable. Gays need to be told they are valuable. Transgenders, everybody, black people need to be told they are valuable. I'm telling you, you're joking with psychology. If you don't pep talk people, they will look for attention. Yes, they will, even if it's bad. Because they have noticed no one is appreciating them. No one is loving them. You're joking with appreciation. You see, people are crying that, oh, black boys don't have fathers. They can have a father who doesn't appreciate them at all. And that one still has a very bad effect on their life. So I am a supporter of identity politics for its psychological benefit. It makes us appreciate each other. That you're a black guy and I'm a white guy, but we can work together and things can flow. See? That's why I like Obama's dream team, you know? Yes, diversify. And Trump has time to have a dream team. He can wake up in the morning and just say, you know what? America is diverse and I'm going to make it diverse. Yes. I'm telling you. What am I trying to say? Diversity should stop being a party ideology. It should stop being a like a liberal ideology that is only for liberals. No. Diversity is a scientific principle. So that means everybody should embrace it. Even conservatives. Yes. Everybody should embrace it, even conservatives. All right. We're done. And I wanted to show you the video of the guy who, the professors, let's see if we can get it. And then we're done with the videos. Here it is. So this is about the duped American journal publishers' rewrite of Mein Kampf, as a feminist manifesto. Okay, these professors were trying to challenge the professors in the grievances sciences. So they tricked some peer review panels in different universities by taking sections of Mein Kampf and rewriting them as if it was a feminist who wrote it. And when they did that, there are some universities that published the feminist manifesto. But it was not a feminist manifesto, it was Mein Kampf by Adolf Hitler. So why did they do that sly thing? They wanted to show the world of academia that in their view, grievance sciences actually sound like Hitler. And I wanted to answer these scientists for that action. And look at the papers they created. They created fake papers. So our struggle is my struggle, and Mein Kampf is my struggle. So they took the statements Hitler made and just substituted. And they made it a feminist manifesto instead of an Aryan manifesto. Mein Kampf is an Aryan manifesto. And what these guys did, they substituted it with feminist lingo to make it a feminist manifesto. And even look at the word they used, manifesto, the same as Karl Marx, the Communist Manifesto. Now, what do you need to understand about everything in what these guys did? Please come and see their video is here. Let's watch it a bit, but we won't watch it. Okay, I don't want to watch it on the website. There they are, academic grievances studies, and it's very good to listen to all of them. Now, I want you to understand something about Hitler, and when we're done, I don't want to go deep. Hitler was an oppressed man. That's what you need to understand. Hitler was not a rich man. Germany, at the time of the writing of Mein Kampf, went through serious economic depression. Serious. Now, when that happened, you remember Germany before World War I was very rich. It had just come from unification in 1871. Very rich under Otto von Bismarck. And because of this richness, they went to war. And they lost the war. And the punishment for losing the war and causing the Europe to go to war was reparations. So Germany was to pay all the countries it invaded. That made Germany poor immediately. Now, the time Hitler was an artist and doing everything, life in Germany was not easy. After World War One, other European countries were doing well because the war was not that. It was bad, people died, but the good thing, the wars were done in the battlefield. There were very few wars done in the cities, like World War II, which was very city warfare. So the other European countries were having fun. You go and look at the pictures of 1920s Europe. They were dancing, drinking. That's when jazz was music and it was booming. But Germany went through hell. We can even do, let's see Germany in the 1920s. German economy in the 1920s, there were several characteristics. You see? Several characteristics which Germany possessed after the World War One. As in most nations, the economic factors of the time play a significant role how a society will behave. You see, economics affect psychology. Germany was economically devastated after a draining defeat in World War One. Due to the Versailles Treaty, Germany was supposed to pay incredibly sizable reparations to France and Great Britain. You see? Social spending was rising at an unbelievable rate. Municipal finance collapsed in 1930. Revenue from income tax began to fall. You see? Hitler had two significant ideas that helped him launch him into power. He had someone to blame for the economy, and he had a plan for a swift economic recovery. You see, the writing of Mein Kampf was a writing of economic pain, and he blamed the Jews, and he had a religious justification. He used religion to blame the Jews for the murder of Jesus Christ. And he was blaming, and the Jews were in charge of the economy in Germany. But Germany's economy collapsed because they went to war, not because of Jews. It was because they went to war and they had to pay back. So what am I trying to tell you? These scientists, when they used Mein Kampf, they needed to understand why was Mein Kampf written and who wrote Mein Kampf. It was a writing from an oppressed man, a very bitter man. And so, even if you call Mein Kampf is similar to a feminist manifesto, the issue is, it is not, even if it's written a manifesto, feminist manifesto, the issue is the woman, the issue is the feminist society and the black people and the gay population are oppressed and they are very bitter. But it doesn't mean they are Hitler. Yes. It's just that they are in the same psychological state as Hitler. The economic state, The same, you see, the economic state they had, sorry about that, the same status Hitler was in, that is bitterness and oppression, is the same status feminists, blacks, and even the LGBT community have been. But, and then again, another thing you know about Mein Kampf, it was written before Hitler got power. That's what you need to understand. So these guys who are talking about that they changed Mein Kampf, these professors, the grievances, trying to attack grievances sciences, needed to understand that Mein Kampf was written in response to the environment Germans were in, including Hitler. And when Hitler became Führer, or the leader, that was it. That was it. And that's what people need to understand about the grievance scientists, that because of the bitterness they've gone through in life and oppression, when they get to power, they can become very tough, because it is to respond to their enemies in the system. Because when Hitler got power, Mein Kampf became reality, and he went for the Jews. So that's what people need to understand about life. So I know what these guys were trying to say. They were just trying to show, these scientists wanted to show their, just get their names so that you can go and do research about them. This includes Maria, not Maria. I want to get the names and then we are gone. I'm going to do, okay. Yes, here are their names: James Lindsay, Peter Bogosian, and there's another woman, Helen Placros. So, of course, they didn't do bad. I'm not attacking their method to try and show, but what I'm hoping they are not trying to say feminists and all of these are Nazis. What they should say, that the same psychological pain that Hitler had is similar to the psychological pain of very many grievance groups like women, racial minorities, and sexual minorities. That's what you need to understand. But it does not mean they are Nazis. Yes, everybody can be a Nazi. Everybody. You have potential to be a Nazi. Because a Nazi is a person who is exclusive and racist and homophobic. That's a Nazi. So that's what you need to understand. Mein Kampf was written not by a president, but by a German who was really angered by what was happening in the country. And when he got power, he changed, and he used his anger. He poured his anger on the very enemies he wanted to be eliminated. Now, if feminists get to power, they should not attack the people who are against them, but rather they should create a system whereby balance of the sexes is allowed. Same to gay people. When you get to power, we should not use power to punish homophobes. What I mean by punishing homophobes, I'm saying don't use it to kill. You see what happened in Germany? Hitler used power to kill Jews. So gays, when you get to power, don't kill the homophobes. Put them in prison. If the homophobia is done by sober intent, You are attentive, you are sober, and you become homophobic, then you should be arrested. So that is my view. Because other than that, homophobia is a mental disorder for those people who don't understand homosexuals. Yes. So, wow, that was a mouthful. But I needed you to look at this because these guys are really causing. They have done a lot of things, and this was when? October 2018. Yes, it's still fresh. So we have discussed diversity delusion. We've critiqued it, and we stand by the fact that diversity is not a delusion, diversity is a reality, and that we as human beings have a right to organize society in the most humane way possible, recognizing our diversity and making sure that we create a system that allows everybody to live together in harmony, even if we disagree. And this is done by having a common economic system where everybody gains from the economic system. Because the reason why we have feminists, the reason why we have racial minority activists, the reason why we have sexual minority activists is because of economics. Yes, there is an economic imbalance. So to solve that problem, don't change behavior. Don't make a black man a white man. Don't make a black man an Asian. Don't make a gay man straight. Don't make a transgender a straight person. Don't make a woman a man. Yeah, don't tell a woman to man up. It has nothing to do with their identity. It has nothing to do with their behavior. Because identity is behavior. It has everything to do with the system. It has everything to do with the structure. So my answer to Heather Macdonald, let us solve the structure. The problem is not people's behavior. It's the structure. Because a black person is genetically different. Most black people, of course there are some who are genetically similar to whites. True. But most black people are genetically different from white people. So it's a fact. They will not behave the same. They will not think the same. So create a common economic system that benefits all, irrespective of race, irrespective of gender, irrespective of sexuality.